This story is called Echoes of the Whispering Pines. Let us begin. In the heart of the Whispering Pines, a forest untouched by human hands for decades, the laughter of children echoed through the trees. The annual camping trip, organized by Pineview Elementary School, had once again brought life to this desolate corner of the woods. The air buzzed with excitement as the children set up their tents and collected firewood, while their teachers prepared a hearty meal to be cooked over the fire. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the group gathered around the crackling flames. Mr. Thompson, the school's beloved history teacher, pulled out a tattered book from his backpack. The children huddled closer as he began to share tales of ancient legends and forgotten spirits that haunted the Whispering Pines. One story in particular sent shivers down their spines. It was said that the woods were home to a malevolent creature, a twisted and vengeful soul that could manipulate the shadows of the forest. The monster, known only as the Penumbra, was known to snatch children from their beds and drag them into the darkness, leaving no trace behind. The children's eyes widened with terror as Mr. Thompson described the horrifying fate that awaited those who crossed paths with the Penumbra. Despite their fear, the children eventually drifted off to sleep, bundled up in their sleeping bags. The soft murmurs of their teachers and the distant howling of a wolf provided a haunting lullaby as the night wore on. In the depths of the forest, the darkness seemed to come alive. Whispers echoed through the trees, weaving a chilling melody that filled the air. As the wind picked up, the branches began to sway, casting eerie shadows on the moonlit ground. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. The campsite erupted into chaos as everyone scrambled to their feet, searching for the source of the cry. It was Sarah, a quiet girl with a sweet disposition, who had been found unconscious just outside her tent. The teachers attempted to calm the frightened children, assuring them that Sarah had merely suffered from a nightmare. As they carried her back to her tent, the children couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The shadows seemed to dance around them, taunting them with whispers that were barely audible. The next day, the atmosphere at the campsite was tense. Sarah had no memory of her ordeal, and the other children were reluctant to venture far from their tents. They huddled together in the daylight, their eyes constantly darting to the shadows that surrounded them. As night fell once again, the children gathered around the fire, listening to Mr. Thompson's stories with a newfound sense of dread. The trees seemed to be closing in around them, their twisted limbs casting dark, contorted shapes that leered at the campsite. At the stroke of midnight, the wind began to howl, drowning out the crackling of the fire and the children's hushed whispers. The branches overhead swayed and creaked, their shadows dancing on the ground like twisted marionettes. As the children huddled closer, the shadows seemed to converge, forming a figure that loomed above them. The darkness itself had come alive, its inky tendrils reaching out towards the terrified campers. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed through the forest. The children turned in horror to find that one of their classmates, a small boy named Timmy, had vanished without a trace. The shadows seemed to laugh at their terror, the whispers growing louder and more sinister. As the teachers searched the woods for the missing child, the remaining campers were left to huddle together in fear, their eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Sleep eluded them, their dreams haunted by twisted shadows. Sinister whispers. They clung to one another, praying for the safety of their friend and for the arrival of daylight. Morning came, but with it, no sign of Timmy. The teachers decided it was best to cut the camping trip short and return to the safety of Pineview Elementary. As they packed their belongings, the shadows seemed to watch them, their whispers echoing through the trees like a menacing farewell. The bus ride back to the school was silent, the children lost in their thoughts and fears. They stared out the windows, the forest a blur of dark green and dappled sunlight. The memory of Timmy's scream haunted them, a chilling reminder of the horrors they had encountered in the Whispering Pines. As the weeks passed, the incident at the campsite became little more than a dark memory. The children returned to their everyday lives, the whispers of the forest growing fainter with each passing day. Yet, the shadows still seemed to linger, their presence a constant reminder of the boy they had left behind. One fateful night, as the children slept soundly in their beds, a heavy fog rolled into Pineview. It slithered through the streets, swallowing up the town in a blanket of darkness. As the shadows converged, the whispers began anew, a chilling melody that echoed through the night. Under the cover of darkness, the Penumbra crept from house to house, its tendrils snaking through the cracks and crevices. It slipped through the shadows, its presence a cold, suffocating darkness that filled the air. One by one, the children began to disappear. Their screams were swallowed up by the fog, their cries for help lost in the swirling darkness. The town was plunged into chaos, the families of the missing children searching desperately for any sign of their loved ones. As the sun began to rise, the fog began to dissipate, revealing a town consumed by grief and terror. The whispers of the forest had claimed their victims, leaving only heartache and despair in their wake. In the heart of the Whispering Pines, the laughter of children echoed through the trees once more. Timmy, Sarah, and the others now wandered the woods, their eyes hollow and their voices a haunting melody that filled the air. The shadows had claimed them, their souls forever bound to the darkness that had taken them. The Penumbra, its vengeance complete, retreated to the depths of the forest, its whispers a constant reminder of the horrors that had befallen Pineview. The children's anguished cries would forever echo through the Whispering Pines, a chilling testament to the power of the darkness that had claimed them. And so, the legend of the Penumbra lived on, passed down through generations as a cautionary tale of the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the Whispering Pines. The children who dared to venture into the woods would never forget the horrifying fate that awaited those who crossed paths with the vengeful creature, a fate that would forever haunt their nightmares and cast a dark shadow over the town of Pineview.